A few weeks ago, I put out a poll asking the question, how many phases do you typically need to set up in Revit to create a renovation project? There were 3 options to choose from. Option 1, 1 phase. Option 2, 2 phases. That's existing and new. Option 3, 3 phases. Existing, demolition, and new. 82% of respondents went for option 3. So 82% of Revit users who partook in the poll believe that you need 3 phases for a single residential project in Revit. That is wrong. Dead wrong. And I'll tell you why that is wrong. Evidently, you guys have not watched my video where I explained how phasing works in Revit. I'll leave a link to that video in the description. But in this video, I will explain the principle again using a scenario that hopefully you can relate with. So imagine that you are a developer and you've purchased a land. There were some buildings on site which you don't really want, but you purchased the land anyway. And you want to start your development in this chronological order. You will start by constructing some residential units. 2 years after, you will construct a restaurant. And 2 years again after that, you would create an extension to your residential flat. So notice the chronology. Construct the residential flat. After 2 years, you construct a restaurant. And 2 years after that, make an extension to your residential flat. Now let's translate this into Revit. This is what your site looks like. And the first thing is to make sure everything is phased correctly. Notice the houses and the trees which are existing. Select everything and make sure they are in the existing phase because they are existing on site or they are existing on site. Now, you want to start with your residential flat. In the real world, you just go ahead and demolish stuffs, right? And then start building. Once you put stuffs in the existing, all you have to do is to create the phase which you are on. And in this scenario, that's the residential phase. So I'll go ahead and create the correct phase, residential phase. And inside my residential phase, that is when I will demolish the buildings which I don't want. And then I'll go ahead and construct my residential flats. Now, fast forward 2 years after that, it's time to construct the restaurant. Some unwanted buildings are still on site, and what I will do is to create the correct phase for my restaurant. In this case, we create the restaurant, and inside the restaurant phase, I will demolish stuff that I don't want. I'll go ahead again to construct my restaurant. Now, fast forward 2 years. Now you are in the flat extension phase. Again, you create a new phase and you name it flat extension. And in this phase, now I will demolish part of the flats that I created a couple of years back and build an extension to it. You notice that this is mimicking the real world. There is nowhere that you have to create a demolition phase and say, all right, we're in the phase of demolition. No, you demolish stuff that you don't want in the phase that you are currently in. Now, you might wonder, how do you view what has been demolished or what has been proposed? That is what the phase filter is for. Use the phase filter to control your visibility settings. So you can show the previous or show the existing plus the new, or you can show the previous and the demolished. You can set up the graphics the way you want. But one thing is important to note about the phase filter. The previous relates to the phase that immediately precedes the current phase. So in our example, we are finishing with the flat extension. Show previous would relate to the phase that immediately precedes that, and that is the restaurant phase. It is impossible to show elements from the flat extension to the original phase, which is the existing phase. It doesn't work that way. You can only go one step forward or one step backward. So to further simplify this, or maybe to answer this again, I've created a new project to simulate a simple renovation. You can see it's just a simple construction. Make sure things are phased correctly. I'll put everything in the existing. I'll go to the correct phase, which is the new construction. I've left everything by default in Revit. I haven't renamed anything. And inside new construction phase, that's when I will demolish the back wall and make my extension. Pardon my designs, but this is for demonstration purpose, and hopefully it drives the point home. And that's it. You only need 2 phases for a simple renovation project in Revit. Use the phase filter to control what you need to build. You do not need 3 phases for a simple renovation project. Now the question is, why is this important? Why is it important to phase things correctly? Can you think of any reason why is this important? Or maybe you think it's not so critical. You could just create 3 phases and play around with the template as long as it works, you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, why it is important to phase things correctly. And also subscribe to my channel. And remember, it's only simple if you know how to do it. If you don't know, you don't know. Cheers. Bye.